Criminals have one objective when sat in the interrogation room: do not confess. But sometimes the detectives are so skilled that they are able to trick the suspect into giving everything up and confessing on the spot.
There was a lot going through my mind at that point. Like, I'm thinking I'm about to die, I'm near death. And then I just shot.
Starting with the 1 in a million interrogation of Kelsey McCrimmon. On the 26th of July, 2017, 2 bodies were found in a car in Virginia. The bodies belonged to Gregory Davis and Ryan Cross, and as the investigation began, police were immediately starved for suspects. There was very little evidence, and the cops couldn't link the deaths to any wider incidents. However, Kelsey had been arrested less than a month earlier for robbing a man at gunpoint for his cell phone. He was well known to the police, so when they found his prints at the scene of the crime, they knew they had to bring him in.
Where were you Wednesday last week? Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning?
26.
Can you remind me?
Double homicide?
I did. I saw about that on Twitter. I was at Cole's house, matter of fact. I was at his house all night.
All night?
Yeah.
You never left?
No.
So you spent the night over there?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever go out and hang out with anybody or anything like that?
No.
What time did you leave his house?
Probably like 6.
6 a.m.?
Or maybe 4. Maybe 4, 5, or 6.
Kelsey gives a very common alibi here, saying he was at his friend's house all night and he never left. Criminals give this alibi a lot as it places them away from the crime and also allows their friends to cover up for them. If Cole tells the cops Kelsey was indeed there all night, then that problem is solved and he couldn't possibly have been the murderer. But of course, it's never that simple.
Did you walk by the police?
No, I walked straight down Richmond Highway.
Were you with anybody?
No, I was by myself. I went home.
So you were at Cole's till about 4 o'clock. What time did you get to Cole's?
We hooped earlier that day, so I was with him probably around, I don't know exactly the time, but I know I was with him for,
All day?
Basically.
Did you walk there or did you take a car?
We walked.
So you walked where was your girl that day? You ain't hang out with the girl that day?
The first part of the interrogation is often the most important. It gives the suspect a chance to explain their side of the story, but it also gives the detective a chance to trap them in a lie. As you may be able to tell, the detective is bombarding Kelsey with questions and barely giving him a chance to think in between each of them. This is done in hopes that if Kelsey is guilty, he'll make a mistake somewhere in his story that the detective can exploit later. The detective continues this for another 5 minutes before deciding to talk about the murder.
When did you hear about the murder?
I heard about it on the news the next morning. My dad had called me, because when I went back home, I went to sleep. My dad called me around 8 something. He was like, "Did you hear about that?" I was like, "Nah." You know what I'm saying?
Did you see who got killed?
They didn't say no names or no faces or nothing.
Did you find out who got killed?
All I know is that one of them was 19 and 20. I've seen that on the news.
Did you know the victims?
No.
Never seen them before in life or anything like that?
I still don't know who it is. I didn't know.
Ryan Cross. You know that name?
No.
How about Greg Dennis?
I don't know. They don't sound familiar.
So what's the word on the street? What happened?
I don't know too much except for what they say on the news. That's it.
Notice how, as soon as the names are mentioned and he's asked whether he knows them, Kelsey's posture becomes much more closed off. He tightens up and starts to move his hands around a whole lot more than he was before. Something is off, and the detectives pick up on this instantly.
So obviously, the reason why we're talking to you too is because we want to find out information. We want to see if you're telling the truth.
Okay.
So this is your opportunity to tell the truth. Detective Guy kind of already talked to you. You know, there's pieces of puzzles, and when you look at them, our job solely is to gather evidence, talk to people, and put it all together. Okay, right now, you're not telling the truth.
About what?
About where you were that night.
Oh, what I am?
You're giving us partial the truth, but there's also text messages between you and Jay.
Me and J. Cole?
Yeah.
Talking about what?
You weren't there if he's texting you. You ever remember saying, I'm in the cut, ambulance just went by?
That's when I was walking home.
Why would you hide in the cut?
No, I'm saying I'm walking through the cut. There's cuts that I take to get home.
Kelsey nods his head here to reassure himself that what he's saying is truthful and believable. But all this does is confirm to the police how nervous he really is.
I mean, you're texting back and forth. He's trying to call you right after the murder.
He's trying to call me. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a phone number, so I can't call me.
He's texting you though, right? FaceTime and texting?
That's when I get home, he texts me, FaceTime me. But he didn't say anything about that.
You know we're talking to you for a reason, right?
I mean,
we're not here talking by chance.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking
Let's talk about the bag that was found in the back of the car. It's got your prints on it. It's got your DNA.
The bag?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Let's talk about why would it have that? Why would it have your DNA on it?
what bag?
There's a bag found in the back, a black backpack. All right.
I'm listening.
If Kelsey had a good way to refute this evidence, you'd have to imagine that he'd be rushing to tell the cops about it. Instead, he says, "I'm listening," a sign that he's got nothing, and is actively searching for an excuse in what the cop says.
I mean, I have his bag sometimes.
Okay. So did you have his bag that night?
No.
Why would he say he gave it to you?
For what?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know why he would give me his bag. Like, we was hooping that day. I probably could have had his bag and put my stuff in it, but that was about it. I didn't have it. Like, no, after that.
So what happened that night? Did something go wrong? Like I said, you seem like a good guy.
What?
You make mistakes, but we need to know what happened that night.
I honestly don't know.
You weren't sleeping there
Yes,
that
I
whole
did.
time.
No, we wasn't asleep the whole time, so I didn't go to sleep till probably like 12 or something. 12 or 1.
So you don't know Ryan Cross?
No.
Do you know Greg Dennis?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You saying those names, I don't know.
I'm asking if you know him.
No, I don't know them.
Have you ever been around them, hung out with them?
I mean, you saying, or the names you're saying, I don't know anybody by that name. If you could show me a picture or anything.
Have you watched the news? You know that area?
No, they didn't show pictures. That's what I'm saying. I never seen them show any pictures or nothing.
Have you ever been in their car or anything?
No.
Is there any reason why your prints would be on that car?
It depends on who you're talking about.
Kelsey's body language is consistently extremely telling throughout this whole interrogation. Before that last question, he was speaking pretty confidently. But when the detective asks if he's ever been in the car, it's like he's been stunned, and he quietly mutters no. It's almost as if he knows exactly what question is coming next, but he definitely wasn't prepared for the cop's next remark.
You know you had your cell phone on you that night, right?
I have my cell phone on.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to track your whole movement that night. It's going to put you in the area of the murder.
I mean, it shouldn't.
But that's an answer. You're saying that it shouldn't. What if it does?
I mean,
Scenario
it
based.
won't.
Because I'm just saying, like I said, I've done this a little bit, and I've tried to be a judgment of character. All right. Do you understand that? I told you I was a robbery detective for 7-8 years,
Yeah.
but I'm a homicide detective now. Spent my whole career looking people in the eyes and going, that dude, he's straight, he just in bad situation, or that dude's fucking whack. That dude's you need to be put in jail because he's fucking maniac. I'm not seeing that. So we're not here talking to you like you're the dude who pulled the trigger, you're the dude or whatever.
The detectives employ another classic strategy by claiming that they don't believe he was actually the murderer. He was just involved. A suspect is much more likely to admit to a less serious charge than they are the actual crime. So the plan is to get something out of them, and then work their way up to a full confession.
Okay, before I even start saying this, I'm telling you, I didn't do that.
All right.
But, so, I didn't know them by that name, honestly. But, you know what I'm saying? I done business with these guys before, so I know they were legit people.
Right.
Those other 2 guys that was at his crib, at the Cole's crib, I don't know them. They know him, but we're not cool like that, so I don't do any dealings with
So
them.
we talking about Dread Boy?
Yeah, he had called me up. I mean, I had called him up. He was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was asking, can I get some stuff off of him? You know what I'm saying? Long story short, they pull up. I didn't want none of that around Cole's crib.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was just me and the other 2 guys was just throwing bread together to get some shit.
Gotcha.
But I was gonna get what I threw. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't
Right.
nothing big or nothing like that.
Kelsey does a pretty bad job of explaining the next part, but in essence, he heads out to buy some drugs from his regular guy, but instead somebody else shows up. The 2 guys who end up getting shot. He decides to go along with it, and we pick up his story as the deal starts to go down.
So I'm in the car, and you know what I'm saying? I'm counting out my money that I have from everybody. And the 2 guys, matter of fact, was standing back there. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? They were just with me.
Did they see them?
Who?
You think the 2 guys who got killed, did they see them back there? Your boys?
It probably did. I don't know. They didn't say anything. Matter of fact, the one guy, I think, asked him for a cigarette or something. You know what I'm saying? He was walking up with me type shit.
Right.
So that's probably why he pulled up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But other than that, after I call him and let him know, like, yo, is everything good? You feel what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get my stuff and leave for real. I don't want, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't know who this guy is. I don't really trust him like that. I don't
Right.
know.
What kind of car you pull up in?
Some white car, I don't know.
Okay.
And then hop in the joint and we pull off. And then next thing I know, some guys come opening that jump. And then, yeah.
All right. Was the same 2 guys that was at the house?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It was all blacked up, everything. I don't know who those guys was. They opened the door, took some of the stuff out of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened.
Where was that at?
That was like near the front.
So long story short, Kelsey had gone out to buy some drugs, got into a car with two people he didn't know, and all of a sudden, two guys came out of nowhere and murdered the dealers. Obviously, Kelsey got out and fled the scene, texting Cole along the way to let him know he's safe. It took Kelsey about 7 minutes to explain this entire thing, over-embellishing every element along the way.
Okay, they both came to one side.
Which side?
The driver's side. And then they opened the door and started doing that. When I got out of the car, I started running. Like, as soon
So they
as
still shooting?
Yes. I dropped everything I had and I started running.
And when they opened the car door,
Right.
they just start shooting.
Yeah. I didn't text nobody, you know what I'm saying? I didn't call nobody, nothing. The last people I talked to was them.
Okay. And did you ever see them go to the passenger side or nothing like that?
Nope.
Okay. What did you touch in that car?
The door, the bag, you know what I'm saying? I had the bag.
Did you ever touch the driver's side door?
Nope.
Did you ever open the driver's door?
Nope.
Did you ever open the passenger door?
Nope.
Were you ever in the front part of the car?
Nah, I tried to open the back door. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
That's it.
But surprise, surprise, this story doesn't line up with the evidence. The last part is extremely important for the detectives. Kelsey has explicitly told them that he didn't touch anything in front of the car, not the doors, not the seats, nothing. It turns out this would be his biggest mistake, and the detectives are about to tell him why.
You told us earlier you never touched the driver's side door, passenger side door. You know we took fingerprints off everything.
What would I have touched the door for?
That's our question.
I didn't know. I don't remember touching no door.
We haven't finished processing, but I'm giving you your opportunity now. Because when we do process, and you sit here and tell me that my fingerprints won't be on their doors, and I get that hit, 3 days later that your fingerprints are on that door, and you had the opportunity to tell me the truth, how's that going to look? Because here's the bottom line, Kelsey, all right? If you shot those people, it's going to look one or two ways. You're going to sit here and lie, and we can think that, Kelsey's cold blood. He just shot them and just left them there. He didn't care. Or maybe something happened in that car. Maybe something they tried to rob you. Something that explains why it happened, okay? But if you're not honest with us, we're not going to know that. And the thing is everything you tell us, we're going back up with evidence. And if you're telling us one thing and it doesn't add up, and the science doesn't add up, what do you think someone's going to believe, the science or your word?
The detectives are once again confronting Kelsey with a less serious option in hopes that he might finally realize he's not getting out of this completely unscathed and at least confess to something. Luckily, they're about to get exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, do you want to talk to us? Tell us what you got to say.
Well, I was just over what he was saying resonating in my mind that I don't want to be looked at as somebody that, out of any aggressive motives, like don't want to be looked at as some killer or some guy that just did that for no reason, because it honestly wasn't like that. So I went to the car, so I'm counting out the money, this, that, and the third, and next thing I know, I got two guns at my face. I don't know if they were real, I don't know if they were BB guns.
Who's pointing the guns?
Both of those guys in the front, that's in the car. Nobody else on the outside had anything. So I had mine. You know what I'm saying? But it was just for protection purposes only. I didn't have any intent on doing anything. I just wanted to get my stuff and go. So they turned around. It was like, saying, you already know what time it is. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just like, at that point, I'm thinking like, these niggas about to kill me. You feel what I'm saying? And I was hesitant on giving them the money. Like, it's not that serious. It's $800. Like, you don't have to do this. You feel what I'm saying? We never had any problems like that. So he, he's like, nah, I'm not playing. You feel what I'm saying? Start pointing more in my face. You know what I'm saying? I had it actually on my head, had one to my head and one to my chest. So then I acted out of self-defense. After that, those two guys, the two guys outside, they took off. And then I'm trying to open the door, and I couldn't even open the door from the inside. I don't know if the child lock was on or whatever, you know what I'm saying? To me, the whole thing was planned out already. Like they were gonna rob me.
All right, so how'd you get out?
I climbed through the passenger side.
You climbed through the passenger side and opened the passenger front door?
No, I never opened the door. The door was open after that, and then I climbed out and I started running. Honestly, sir, I'm honestly sorry that happened. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that out of just me wanting to do that. Out of me being a cold-hearted person. I'm not that person. You know what I'm saying? I probably guess the time that I deal with them, they thought, you know what I'm saying, from how they go about it, that he was sweet. I don't come off like I'm just some hardcore gangster. I'm none of that. I acted out of self-defense.
Where's the gun now?
I don't have it.
I know. Where is it?
I don't know. I gave it to J. Cole. He did something with it. I don't know where he took it. I don't know who he gave it to.
When did you buy the gun from the pawn shop?
I don't remember exactly.
How long have you had it?
I'd probably say a few months.
Where'd you buy the ammo at?
Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
When'd you buy the ammo from Walmart?
The same day I got the gun.
Okay. Did you pay credit card or cash?
I paid with cash.
Cash. Right.
And that's pretty much all the cops needed to take Kelsey down. But just for good measure, they made him repeat his version of events once more.
So let's break down what happened that night a little bit, alright? So you get in the car. When they drive up to the cul-de-sac, how many people were in the car?
Like when they picked me up?
Yeah, when they picked you
There was
up.
only 2 people in the car. I go up to the window. I was like, what's up? Like, I'm here.
Okay.
So he was like, nah, bro, just get in the car. So I'm just like, all right, bro. I guess he didn't want to just do it out in the open or something like that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and then 2 other guys come out of nowhere and they're just blocking my door. I'm just like, and I'm just in the back, just stuck like this. You know what I'm saying? Then they turn around, put the guns in my face, like, yeah, you already know what time it is. Trying to rob me, basically. And then I just shot.
With that, Kelsey has completely admitted to the murders of Gregory and Ryan. The detectives did an incredible job of making Kelsey feel comfortable and then backing him into a corner by asking exactly the right questions. They knew what evidence they had and tricked Kelsey into telling what they knew to be lies. However, they were never able to prove that there was any form of premeditation involved in this case, so Kelsey was hit with 2 charges of second-degree murder and sentenced to 38 years behind bars. Cade Lish, however, was faced with such a smart detective, he couldn't help but confess to everything and was sent to prison at just 22 years old.
Did you stab him?
Yes.
Cade had been faced with anger issues throughout most of his adolescent life, but he never expected it would lead him here. Him and a man named Jeremiah had gotten into an argument outside of a restaurant, and at first it was just a normal disagreement, but it quickly escalated into a full-on fight where Cade drew a pocket knife and stabbed Jeremiah 3 times. Jeremiah died of his injuries, but at this point, Cade doesn't know that, giving the detective a massive opening to get to the bottom of why this happened.
I would like to know what happened tonight.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is this guy okay? Is he...
I haven't heard the latest on him yet.
Okay.
But obviously he was involved in a fight as well. So I'm just trying to piece it together what happened. Once I get some more information, I'll let you know.
Sure. Okay.
I'd just like to know kind of your point of view as to what happened tonight, how this started.
Sure.
The detective needs to make sure Cade doesn't figure out Jeremiah is dead. In his head, he's just facing an assault charge. Cade might be more likely to confess if he's unaware of the severity of the situation, so the detective continues under this guise.
My buddies were going to a movie, and I think it started at 30.
And when you say buddies, who's the figure?
Cade Baugh, which that's where they picked me up from. Like I said,
Okay.
yeah, and his good friend Brent Hilliard, I think his dad's actually the chief of police.
What happened from there?
From there, I went in, sat down. A few other guys I worked with were there. Had some drinks, talked, and eventually everybody, was starting to go home. We both had to work today, so we decided to go home.
Cade then spends the next 5 minutes detailing the rest of the night before getting into the argument with Jeremiah. He says the two had their differences before. Apparently, he'd been making some derogatory comments towards one of Cade's gay friends, and he wasn't happy about that. And after a few drinks, that all came to a head when they met again outside the bar that night.
But at some point you did get physical with this guy?
Yeah.
Was it just one guy?
I think so. I just remember getting hit and telling me, you guys need to get off me, or I'm going to stick you. I'm going to stick you. You guys need to get off me. That's it.
All Cade seemed to remember is being assaulted by one or more people, managing to escape, and then calling 911. But we know that there's an important element of this story missing, so the detective tries to ask a few questions that might shed a little light on Cade's involvement in this fight.
Now, you said you got in a scuffle with this guy, and were you guys exchanging punches?
I don't know that I punched him at all. I know that he punched me.
You said that you were going to stick him. What did you mean by that?
I had my pocket knife. I say, you need to get off me, or I'm gonna stab you, stick you. At this point, I didn't know how many freaking guys were hitting me. I was kind of scared. I was dazed. That first hit about knocked me out.
Do you remember stabbing this guy at all?
I can't remember what position we were in when it happened. I can't remember if we were on the ground, if we were standing up. I can't remember the exact position.
But did you stab him?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Do you know how many times you stabbed him?
I don't.
More than once?
I think
Twice?
I think so. I couldn't tell you exact amount.
Well, that was a lot easier than anyone was expecting. The detective has done a very good job of putting Cade at ease. He's leaning in towards him and maintaining eye contact so as to show Cade that he is interested in the conversation and that he's someone he can trust. This, in combination with Cade not knowing the severity or what he did, made it much easier for him to confess to stabbing him. So now, the detective just has to iron out all the details. Something that's much easier said than done when the suspect was drunk and full of adrenaline.
But you don't recall maybe how many times you stabbed him?
I don't recall
Where?
the times.
Where you stabbed him?
I want to say in the back, maybe. Like, I know that we were wrapped up, I think.
Face to face?
Well, you know, kind of like in a clinch. I don't know if he had a hold of me, if I had a hold of him, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Were you on the
Yeah,
grass? or
see,
something?
I don't remember if I was on my knees or if we were standing up. That's the part that I don't remember, but I know it's either inside or in the lower back area.
Okay. I think it was more than once, but you're not sure.
I think so, yes. Mm-hmm.
They then both decide to take a break before getting right back into it 30 minutes later.
And I think you told me before that he threw the first punch.
Yes.
Okay. And that's how you remember it as him.
Yep.
And then it just becomes a fight after that. Was there any point that you were able to, like, be able to break away from him, get away from him, move?
I don't think
Did you try to get away from him?
Yeah, I didn't want to
Did you
fight.
engage him? Were you mad at him?
I was mad after I got hit, but I didn't want to fight, and I remember telling him, I don't want to fight as I'm getting hit.
You were just trying to get away from him?
Yes.
At that point, after you got hit?
Yeah,
But you couldn't?
exactly.
Okay. So, at what point during this struggle, I mean, did you feel like your only choice to get away from this guy was to stab him?
After I told him that I didn't want to fight, and I told him to stop, and I told him I'm going to stab you if you don't stop.
Why stab him though? Why not?
Well, because
Because
nothing else was working.
Did you try what else did you try?
I tried to get away, physically, and through telling him, but it wasn't working.
This is a surprisingly important piece in this case. Cade says he tried everything he could do to get away before stabbing Jeremiah, but nothing else was working. However, at the same time, he claims never to have punched or kicked him. From the detective's point of view, it seems that Cade just tried to crawl away and then immediately resorted to possibly lethal force in the pocket knife. This could have been a split-second decision Cade made when realizing he was in danger, but it could equally have been a conscious decision made because he wanted Jeremiah dead. It's a difficult call to make, and the detective has to get to the bottom of it.
How long did it take after you started stabbing him for you guys to break apart? Was it immediate? Was it a couple minutes? Was it
It's kind of
after?
hard. I know I stabbed him a couple times. More than once.
But once
Once it started happening,
did you continue to stab him after he let go of you, or what?
I don't think no.
At what point did you stop stabbing him? I guess I should ask.
When I felt that he had let go of me, basically.
But you didn't go after him anymore.
I don't think so. No.
You don't know how many times you stabbed him. Do you have any idea?
Multiple.
Okay.
I couldn't give you even a close number. I know more than once.
And that's kind of my issue with this incident that happened, is because of the number of times this guy was stabbed. I don't have an exact count because the doctor, everything that's going on, but we're looking at 13, 14 times, okay, which is a lot, okay. A couple times I can see, once, twice, 3 times, but when you start getting 10, 11, 12, 13, that's a lot of times to stab somebody.
Okay.
And I understand, you told me what happened, why you did, and everything like that, but I gotta look at everything involved here. So the number of times this guy was stabbed is a concern to me, okay? The second thing here, and this is probably gonna be the hardest part to deal with, okay, is this guy's died, okay? That's the tough part. It doesn't leave me with a lot of choice here as to what to do with you, okay? And you can probably understand that, right? Okay, so you're going to go to jail today.
And that's exactly what happened to Cade. He was sent to jail and subsequently stood trial for the killing of Jeremiah Pays. The jury was met with a similar conundrum as the detective was. It seems as though he's telling the truth about the fight, and all the evidence corroborates that story. But he still stabbed Jeremiah 13 times. The final verdict was one of voluntary manslaughter, a crime separate to first or second degree murder. It's given to suspects who intended to kill somebody but aren't guilty of murder due to provocation to circumstances that would cause a reasonable person to act in the same way. In Cade's case, this makes perfect sense, and the head juror of this case put it best. He didn't doubt Cade was afraid, but he wasn't acting entirely out of fear. For this reason, Cade was sentenced to 22 years in prison and will be eligible for parole after just 10 years. The detective did an incredibly good job of extracting the full truth from Cade, especially under these complex circumstances. But in the case of Lee Rodarte, they were faced with a much more formidable opponent. Lee thought he was smarter than the cops and was ready to try and outsmart them, but the cops were ready to use their years of experience and put them to the test to get a confession from him.
Where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
No. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside. I'm begging you, Lee. Just tell us.
I don't know where she is.
This is Lee Rodarte, a man taken into custody for being suspected of kidnapping and killing his co-worker, Savannah Gold. With no ideas of where Savannah could be, the cops knew getting this interrogation wrong could mean they might never catch the killer. What's even worse is that Lee had a foolproof story that was going to make sure Savannah was never to be found. Lee, however, is under the impression that he is smarter than the detectives. Little did he know, this would be a massive mistake for him. On the 2nd of August 2017, Savannah's family received text messages stating she was running away and quitting her job. The messages were riddled with errors, causing her family to panic and report her as missing immediately. Throughout the investigation, the police were grasping at straws until they were suddenly sent the CCTV footage from the Bonefish Grill where Savannah worked. The video shows her getting into a silver car in the parking lot before it began to shake violently, with the door being thrust open and pulled shut 3 times. The car then drove out of the parking lot and Savannah was never seen again. After a series of interviews, they discovered the car was identical to Lee Rodarte's, a manager at the grill and boyfriend to Savannah for around 2 months. Lee was immediately arrested on suspicion of murder and brought into the interrogation room. However, he was told by police it was for an unimportant traffic warrant, and that's when the following happened.
I'll stay right out here. You can go have a seat for me real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Being told the detective will be right back obviously implies to Lee that he won't have to wait long to be seen. But it'd actually be 90 minutes before anyone enters the room again. Only a few days ago, Lee was interviewed about the disappearance of a girl he kidnapped, and now he's been handcuffed and taken into a police interrogation room. Lee will be feeling incredibly anxious now, but remember, he's confident that there's no way the cops have enough evidence to take him down. But unfortunately for him, the facade the detectives put up is all about to be ripped away.
Hey, man.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. You remember me from the other day? Detective
sir.
Reeves? Okay. This is my partner, Detective Staley.
The detective that enters isn't the same one that brought him in. It's the one who interviewed him about Savannah 3 days prior. Any comfort he found in thinking this was all unrelated has now been completely taken away and replaced with pure panic. But Lee's plan remains the same, so he tries to keep himself composed as he prepares for the onslaught of questions he's about to be hit with.
So, Savannah, you said that you knew her and you guys had, you knew her from work. I mean, just kind of fill me in with that. How long have you known her?
Like I said, I've known her obviously since she started working there. I would say probably about 8 months ago, we started hanging out outside of work. And at the time I had a girlfriend, but we kind of connected, me and Savannah. So we hung out a little bit here and there, got pretty close. We come from, I guess, somewhat similar backgrounds, I guess you should say.
The question Lee was given was, how long have you known Savannah? A question that surely merits a fairly simple answer. When hit with a question like this, people who have nothing to hide keep their responses short, taking the questions at face value. But people who feel pressured will usually extend their answers to questions in an effort to seem as though they know what they're talking about. Something Lee will fall victim to.
So we kind of connected, hung out for a little while. I'd probably say a period of 2-3 months.
Okay.
And then she started using drugs a lot. I did them with her a couple times, and then she started to get heavy into them. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so I kind of just tried to take a step back and, put things off. And then probably a month or so ago, I saw Savannah at work, and she looked healthy again. She gained a little bit of weight. We kind of were talking, here and there. We hung out a couple times. She came over to the house, and we just kicked back, drink a couple beers, watch movies, stuff like that.
In total, Lee spoke for over 5 minutes in response to a single simple question, going so far as to detail specific encounters between the pair. Now that the detectives have even more reason to suspect that he may be hiding something, they decide to call him out on something small to gauge his reaction. In the first interview, Lee had told investigators he hadn't seen Savannah in a while. But if the CCTV footage is to be believed, this is a bold-faced lie.
And then as we hung out, after a couple of times, she brought drugs over. I told her, I was like, you're doing really good. You can't, you shouldn't be doing it again. I think we moved too fast. Split mutual ways.
Mutual. Right. Yeah.
And that was the last time that we text.
Okay.
When was that? Yeah. When was that?
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sometime in July.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you said was that was the last time that you had contact with her.
Yes.
As far as, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I mean you correct me.
That was the last time that I texted her.
Yeah, text or a phone call or messenger or anything like that. 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. And then the last time, when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I was a bit, I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple days before that.
Yeah.
So I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish.
When was this?
Wednesday afternoon.
Okay. Well, do you know what time or about?
It was about 5:30.
Okay.
Without realizing it, Lee has already provided us with enough evidence to assume he's guilty. We know he knew Savannah. He had the same vehicle seen in the footage, and he was present at the scene of the crime when it happened. Remember, Lee has no idea the cops have footage of the event. If he knew about it, he would have tried to provide an alibi that put him somewhere completely different. Unfortunately, though, this isn't quite enough evidence for the cops to get a guaranteed conviction. Instead, they need to push further to try and extract a full confession. Something that will not come easy at all.
I parked and I said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And she said, yeah, what's up? And I was like, I heard you've been saying some things about me and you continuing to hang out, and that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And she asked me, she said, can I come sit in the car because I just did some heroin and I'm a little paranoid.
It was never confirmed that Savannah did do heroin. Nobody in her life mentioned seeing or suspecting she used it. And even if she did, she was headed to a shift at her job as this conversation was taking place. If she was able to do that without getting paranoid, it seems strange she couldn't simply have a chat in the parking lot.
So she came and sat in the car, and I explained to her the situation. I told her that servers at Bonefish were coming to me and telling me that you're telling people when you're out that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said, I need you to stop, because for one, it's jeopardizing my job. We agreed to, split, stop talking mutually and just move on. But it was nothing more than that. And she said, I'm gonna do what I want. I didn't tell anybody anything. At that point, I got out and I punctured the hole in the tire. And I said, no, stop. And I said, don't do it again, or next time it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be your windows. At that point, she had her phone in her hand. She got out of the car and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
Obviously, this entire explanation was crafted to try and create an alibi as close as possible to what actually happened. But the few small inaccuracies are actually glaring windows directly into the truth. We know that Savannah never left the vehicle in the parking lot, and that she drove away with him just minutes after getting in. Lee is unwittingly constructing a mountain of evidence against him in the form of lies that he thinks he's getting away with. And he's not finished yet.
And it looked like she was either texting or calling somebody.
Okay.
Because as she started walking towards there's an entrance to the plaza. She was walking maybe towards this way. And I would say an older model Ford pickup, green.
Okay.
Drove past me and around, and she got in.
Okay. How long do you think it was between the time that she got out and started using her phone till that green truck pulled up?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. So wow. So if she called somebody, they got there in 5 minutes to pick her up?
Well, I mean, like I said, it looked like she was going to call somebody, and that's when the green truck came around, and she got in.
So she gets in the truck. What happened at that point?
They drove back around, kind of looped around a little bit.
Which way did they drive?
So I guess they exited that way, and at that point, I left.
Lee doubles down on the lie, again, thinking that this puts him completely in the clear, as he wouldn't have been the last person to see Savannah, but his decisions continue to work against him. Had he decided to stick closer to the truth, he might have been able to argue that he took Savannah somewhere else and then parted ways with her. But without the knowledge of what police have against him, Lee is left simply guessing and forced to make up stories on the fly. This is why it's so important to call a lawyer, innocent or not. In an interrogation, detectives are allowed to both lie and withhold evidence from you, putting you in a very difficult situation where you're at the mercy of their tactics and games. However, the second you bring an attorney into the mix, things get exponentially easier, as police are forced to turn over all of the evidence in their possession so they can put together a fair and sound defense for you. Calling a lawyer isn't just having a wingman at the interrogation room. It's an unlocked door that bypasses almost all of the police's tricks. It goes from them interrogating you to a legal battle. But, needless to say, Lee hasn't called a lawyer and has been left at a disadvantage from the beginning. If Lee was as smart as he thinks he is, he wouldn't have waived this right, and likely would be in a much better position.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
Why?
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
To your neck?
I couldn't. Yeah, I did. And
What did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some time in July.
You did that in July and it's still
Yeah.
bloody?
Well, I kind of peel the scab here and there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working. And it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse
Yeah.
than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take a genius to realize how brazen of a lie this is. Aside from his incredibly unconvincing delivery of his excuses, Lee has no history with self-harm and was reported to have been in good spirits in the weeks leading up to this event. Furthermore, Lee becomes visibly anxious here. Most people have a tell that shows when they're lying or feeling uncomfortable. For many, this is crossing their arms or slouching in their chair, but Lee keeps his posture and position fairly consistent throughout the interview. Instead, Lee is prone to subconscious jittery movements in his limbs. Earlier in the interview, while being caught in his first lie, he bounced his leg repeatedly the entire time. While here, he moves his hand and fingers unnaturally every time he tells a lie. In fact, it's almost comical how perfectly it lines up with the false statements.
I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish.
When was this?
Wednesday afternoon.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
What did you use?
A knife.
It's also interesting to note that the detectives almost certainly noticed these marks just seconds into the interview. The decision to mention it now was a conscious one, done to try and build pressure. Lee would likely have anxiety regarding his last big lie about Savannah exiting his vehicle. Catching him so suddenly in a second lie right after will likely amplify these feelings and cause him to feel even more paranoia as the detectives continue. This is also likely why they immediately flip back to talking about the truck right after.
Could you see who the person in the truck was?
The truck had fairly tinted windows. I saw a baseball cap.
Yeah. You see a guy, girl, white, black?
I couldn't really tell if it was a guy or a girl.
Okay.
I just remember seeing the truck drive and her get in.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm sitting in front and truck drives right past me.
Yeah.
And I saw a baseball cap through the passenger window.
Okay.
But
So did it seem like she knew the person?
I mean, she got right in.
Lee, why didn't you mention this before since we've been looking for this girl? I mean, don't you think that information
I mean,
is
it
important?
definitely does. And I regret obviously not saying anything before.
So when I come up and talk to you yesterday, I'm not threatening. I'm talking to everybody up there. What? Why?
Well, I just, I freaked out, to be honest with you. I mean,
this girl's missing?
Yes.
Okay, but you know she's been missing. I mean, you had to know.
Obviously, I was the last one to see her, so
Yeah.
I was a little bit scared at that. And
How do you know you just said you weren't the last one to see her. You just said somebody in a truck.
Well, I mean, the last one to see her at Bonefish.
Okay.
The last one she's heard from.
Right.
Or had contact with that anybody knows of.
Sure.
The detective knows he's starting to catch Lee on the back foot, so decides to keep the pressure up.
So where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
That's my prime objective is to find her.
Definitely.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And that's really, I really do, I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think they need some closure. So where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
I don't know.
I need to know where Savannah is so I can
don't
let
know
her family
where
know.
she is.
You don't know because you had something done with her and you weren't involved in that part? I don't know. Tell me something. What can I work with?
I told you the last time I saw her.
But that's not true because we have proof. We have proof. And that's why we're sitting here, Lee. At this point, we need this for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age. That's who I think about. That was my little girl. I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you or whatever, but my little girl is that age.
Maybe
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do anything, but she was in your car. She never got out of your car. She never got out of your car. Lee?
This is where the true genius of these detectives start to shine. The initially quiet female detective suddenly starts to speak up. The male detective had a very deadpan, professional demeanor throughout the interrogation, so having that suddenly contrasted by a vulnerable, emotional-looking person being thrust in front of him will likely come as even more of a shock to him, especially as she starts to become more emotive and even starts to beg him.
She never gets out of that car. And you drive off. She never gets out of that car. There is no green truck. And that's not right to her. We're fact finders, Lee. I don't have anything personal against you.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
We're
over.
just fact finders.
tell us
We're
what
just
happened.
doing
Where
our
is she?
job. No. Where did you go with her? Where did you go with her, Lee? Be human. You're a human. You're a man. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside.
Maybe you
Please.
maybe you don't know where she is now. Where did you go with her?
Please. I'm begging you, Lee. I know you're not an evil person. I don't see that in you. I don't see that in your history. I don't hear those things about you at work. Is she still at your house?
No.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay. Well, then where is she? What was going on in the back seat? For the doors to be kicked open. She kicked open that door 3 times, Lee. She kicked it. We saw it. And you know I'm not making it up because I wouldn't know this because I wasn't there unless we had video of it, correct? Yes, correct. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just a fact finder.
I mean, she was upset. She tried to slap me. I slapped her. She went to get out. I grabbed her around her waist. She said, "Where are you going? Why are you hitting me?" She calmed down and we left.
Why would she leave with you after that? Why would she?
I mean, we've gotten arguments plenty of times where she says she doesn't care what happens or anything like that.
All right. Sometimes people do wrong things, right? Some people make mistakes. It's what you do afterwards. I got a family that needs closure. They are now coming to the reality that she's no longer with us. Do you want people to remember you as a guy who said, okay, look, I'm going to do the right thing? Or do you want your family and everybody else to think that you're some evil, heartless person who won't tell us where she is? I don't think you're that kind of guy. I don't think you're evil. Just tell us where she is. Closure for her family.
She was hitting me. She wouldn't stop, and I squeezed back. I just squeezed her hard. Stop.
You squeezed her around her neck or around her neck?
She just wouldn't let go. I didn't let go.
Where is she now?
Please tell us where she is.
All I want to do is leave me alone. It's a pond on the west side off of Club Du Clay
Club Du Clay?
Yeah.
Okay.
and Longchamp.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a few days later, a dive team recovered the remains of Savannah Gold, burned and almost unrecognizable. So much so that her cause of death couldn't even be determined. Lee Rodarte pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of Savannah and in March of 2021 was sentenced to 40 years behind bars.